All right, you guys ready to? I do want to say this. I didn't say it a minute ago, but if you didn't pray with your wives or you didn't pray with your families, I'm going to find out about it because I'm going to be here tomorrow morning. And if you don't think I'll throw you under the bus and make myself look good, you are crazy. So you better get that done today. I'm extending it for another 24 hours. And I will announce that from the pulpit tomorrow. And believe me, your wives will snitch you out. Trust me. But for this next few minutes, when I talk about confidence, how my confidence was changed, or my thought process of the word confidence changed, I'm going to show a video in just a second. Let me talk about what happened. You guys know I work with Team Impact. I travel with the strongest men in the world since 2006. Started traveling to places like Australia, Belize, Brazil, Kenya, Japan. Preaching the gospel, speaking in schools. Team Impact is an incredible ministry. Big Dave even flew to Dallas and met with some of the board members about some future projects. So Team Impact is a big deal. International ministry. Team Impact, the Power Team, the Strength Team, all these guys are on TV. They're on Christian TV. We have commercials. Everybody's heard of these ministries. Usually when I bring up the Power Team, some kid will, or some man my age will always tell me, you guys came to my school and you broke a baseball bat, or you've been a steel bar. So what we do is we do the feats of strength, and then we share what God's done in our life. And when I started in 2006, I didn't know how to rip a phone book. I didn't know how to blow up a hot water bottle. I didn't know how to bend steel bars. I didn't know how to do any of that. I never broke anything on purpose when I was younger. But when I started with Team Impact, to be a member of Team Impact, you have to be a strong man. You have to break bricks, pick up telephone poles. What we do is we take a telephone pole, creosote telephone pole, we take a chainsaw, we cut grooves in it, put these gate handles, we get it about 400 pounds, and we pick it up to our waist, we roll it to our chest, and press it over our head. Sometimes towards the end of the week, when we got 5 or 6 guys, and we run out of things to do, we'll tack rags on the end of that telephone pole, set it on fire, and then challenge someone to get in there and pick up that telephone pole. Randall never would do the fire. He would not step in front of that telephone pole and pick it up when it was on fire. And I asked him one time, I said, Randall, how come you don't pick up the pole on fire? He goes, man, I'm highly flammable. He wouldn't do it. To this day, he still won't do it. But I'll tell you a story about Randall in just a minute that involves fire. But as you do these feats of strength every single night, you start to think about them less. When you first start, you're like, man, I got to climb on a scaffolding. I got to climb up here on 2 scaffoldings, break this massive wall of ice in front of thousands of people. Man, I hope I make it. Or I do a head break. I was the only one that would do head breaks. I was the only one brave enough, stupid enough. Anyway, I would do that stuff. But the more I did it, the less I thought about it. It didn't become a big deal. The big deal was, hey, what am I going to speak about? What am I going to talk about? What's God going to have me bring to these people? So I thought about the feats of strength less. I became pretty good at them. Some of the guys have certain feats they can do better than the other guys. I can do them all. Bench steel bars around 2.5 times, a 5/8 steel bar, break a stack of concrete with my head. And that was kind of an extra thing because no one else would do that. So I did it so much over the years, I didn't think about it. And June 13th, I was in Opelika, Alabama. And Pastor, this good friend of mine at that church, First Baptist Church, he asked me to come do a youth program with about 700 kids. It was going to be outside. They had a big fair with jumping thing. What's the thing they jump in and popcorn, hot dogs, and all that stuff. He said, well, I got about a 45-minute program, Chip. Will you come and do some feature strength for the kids and then have a gospel presentation? I said, absolutely. I never say no. Never said no. But I'm by myself. Usually I got 5 or 6 guys, at least 3 guys with me. But he only had enough room in his budget for 1 guy. So I went. I drove from Pensacola, Florida. It was a beautiful night. Opelika, Alabama, you can imagine hot. It's nothing I'm not used to. So I go on stage, and I set out. You saw last night I had my little pile of stuff. So I go on stage, I got a frying pan, I got a phone book. I got to explain what a phone book is to these kids, they don't know. I got some baseball bats, I got a hot water bottle. A hot water bottle, I'm not talking about a bottle like this. I'm talking about it's an old school red bat. There was a professional bodybuilder, Arnold Schwarzenegger, his best friend was named Franco Colombo, a little short guy. He actually took a hot water bottle, placed it to his lips, blew in air from his lungs until it exploded. People were amazed. So that started something, kind of like with the phone book with John Jacobs. People started grabbing these old hot water bottles and blowing them up. Sometimes they get this big. When they explode violently. Sometimes it takes 8 to 10 minutes to blow up a hot water bottle. I've had a bottle so big my arms were shaking, sweat pouring down, safety glasses, had earplugs in, because it would bust your eardrum sometimes. And when those bottles finally bust, it takes the skin right outside of your face. And it's awesome. I mean, my wife ate it when I did that. I didn't tell her I did it every night, but when she would see it on TV, she'd be, I thought you said you weren't going to blow up a hot water bottle. They made me do it, but it was an awesome deal. Man, when it would explode, it sounded like a shotgun going off. And when you did one in a gym like this, people would take off running out the door. I loved it. That was the single most hated feat of strength that anyone hated to do, because you were going to go 100%. And we had to blow up one every night, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day in school assemblies. So I never did think about it that much. I just grabbed one, take it out on stage with me. What do you want me to do? The phone book, the bar? I'll do whatever. Sometimes we'd be on stage and hadn't even planned out who's going to do what. We just jump up there and do the bar, the bat, phone book, roll the frying pan. So when I'm in Opelika, Alabama, that night, in front of 700 kids on the flatbed trailer, I got me a big pile of feats. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, didn't think about it. Got started speaking to the kids. I felt great. I always feel good. I always feel great. Started off with a hot water bottle. We always start the program. Let me get this out of the way, because I'm not going to be able to breathe for a second. I'm going to have to get a drink of water. And I got 45 minutes. I don't want to waste any time. Start at 7 o'clock. I take this bottle, place it to my mouth, and I blow it up. And it gets massive. Got safety glasses on, got earplugs in. Man, that thing blows up. Little kids take off running everywhere. Spit, slobber flies out in the crowd. It's awesome. It cuts my arm, knocks my safety glasses off my face, knocks one of the earplugs. My ears are ringing. But I'm used to that. It's not a big deal. I take some water, drink a little bit of water, take a rag and wipe my face off. And I got to hurry up, because I was telling Dave last night, we don't like any dead time with a mic. You got to keep having something. You can't just stop talking. You can't just stop doing the figure straight. So I'm trying to breathe. Okay, what am I going to do next? But I noticed something a little bit different. My heart rate is beating a little bit faster than it normally is. And I'm a little dizzy. But I'll recover in a minute. Let me call some kids up to test out the phone book like we did last night. And I called a couple of kids up, a boy and a girl, and they're testing out the phone book. They're pushing on the bat, you know. And I'm wasting as much time as possible. And I never did recover, but I had to go. I was wasting time with these kids. I said, okay, you see it's real. You guys go back and sit down. And I grabbed the steel bar. It's a half-inch steel, solid steel bar. We take that steel bar and we start off bending it, not place it on top of our head. We don't place it behind our neck. We don't even place it behind our leg. When we start bending that bar, we place it in our teeth. 5 out of 5 dentists recommend, please don't stick metal in your mouth. To be a member of Team Impact, you have to have 2 things. Number 1 is above average strength, which I have. And number 2 is below average intelligence, which I have. Definitely. I don't mind doing that. So I took the steel bar, put it in my teeth, I bent it around one time. I'm still dizzy. There's a part that you get to that bar, it gets really difficult. You have to crank down on that bar. I put it on my leg, and I push. I knew when I get to that next turnaround, I was going to be okay. I get it around where it's supposed to be, and my heart is, oh my gosh. I never could just take a deep breath. Kind of reminded me as a lost person, I never could just relax my shoulders, and I'm trying to recover. And I got the bar where I want it, so I take a couple of seconds, and I feel like I'm going to fall off the stage. I'm way up here on a flatbed. All these kids are, so I back up a little bit. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to tell any more of the story. I want to let you guys see the video. I built it up to the part that you're going to see. When this video starts, you're going to see me bending that steel bar, so you guys kind of know what happened going into that. I'm in Opelika, Alabama. I just blew up a hot water bottle. I just had a couple kids come on stage. They sat back down. I grabbed the steel bar, and I started bending it. So when you see this video, you'll see me on stage in front of all the, you won't see the kids will be behind where the camera is. But you'll see me on stage. I want you guys to watch this video. Sir, if you'll please play that video real quick. Still hard to watch. For 4 minutes, I was dead. I fell out on that stage. They actually, some of the people before I passed out, they thought I was part of it. They thought I was just kind of messing around a little bit. But when you saw that sound guy in the back come running up on stage, his name's Austin, they knew there was a problem. Just so happened to be a cardiac nurse and a doctor on the front row with the kids. They came running on stage. I mean, they went straight into it. That's instinct for them. They flipped me over. The nurse took my pulse, and she said, he has no pulse, he's gone. 2 big firemen come running up, started doing CPR. Big guys, and they did it right because they broke my sternum and broke most of my ribs in the middle. They didn't care. They had to push down with your heart, just make it squeeze and pump some blood. And they did that for a while. They cut my shirt off. Pastor, First Baptist Opelika, they have about 7 AED machines. Big, massive church. They just put one right down where I was at about a month before. He takes off running. He's a little short guy. He has a short stride length, but he takes off running. He grabs that AED machine. He comes back. They bring it on stage. They cut my shirt off. They put one lead here, one lead on the side. And they turn that thing on. And it's a shockable rhythm. An AED machine is not going to shock you unless it's supposed to. It knows what your heart's doing. It's a shockable rhythm. That means I was in a VTAC heart rhythm. And they hit start. And that thing, boom, they stopped doing CPR. As soon as they hit start and that thing shocked me, I woke up. And I woke up talking just like I'm talking now. I could hear them. I've been in car wrecks, motorcycle wrecks, been knocked out, and come to a lot. So I could tell by the way I was laying and the way the people were milling around that it was me. I could tell I was out. And I heard the nurse say this. She goes, that shock got it. She goes, that shot got it. I said, shot? Y'all shot me with something? So you know that shot, we shot you back with an AED machine. And she's holding my hand. She's crying, man. She's holding my hand. There's a big old fireman. He's still sitting on me a little bit. And I'm like, Dave, man, I got things to do. I don't have time for this. I got to be in Jackson, Mississippi tomorrow night. I didn't get to finish today. I didn't get to preach the gospel, so I need to get that done. I need to be in Jackson, Mississippi. I got another day 2 days later. In my mind, I'm thinking about how am I going to get this stuff done. And I told that fireman, this big country guy, I said, sir, if you'll get off me, my truck is right there. I can get my truck and go home and get ready for tomorrow. he He said, brother, you're not going anywhere. He said, you were dead for 4 minutes. And when he said that, and I could tell by the way the people walking around, I said, yeah, this is serious. I can't get out of this one. Because as men, we're always trying to minimize it. I don't want my wife to find out. I need to get back home. I hate this whole situation happening. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable. But when he said that, I said, all right, I'm yours. You know, that's what being a Christian taught me. I'll do what you tell me to do. So they bring in the ambulance. And all these little kids, when I fell out, they didn't know if I was dead or not. They took off running to the parents. And I didn't see this, but they told me later on that all these parents and these little kids were in huddles praying for me. Praying nonstop. I didn't get to preach the gospel on the stage that night. But all those little kids that saw me on stage, that saw that incident, saw that, when they were running to their parents had explained, because they didn't know if I lived or died, they had explained to their kid what happened if I didn't wake up. They had to explain to that little one what happens the day they die. So that forced the parents to have to go home and preach the gospel to their kids. I thought that was pretty awesome. And the nurse said, all right, Chip, we need to call somebody. I knew this was coming. She goes, we need to call somebody. I said, I ain't up here by myself. I don't have anybody. She said, I need to call your wife. I said, she's busy. We'll call her later. And she said, no, I need to call her now. She's a nurse. She wouldn't take any junk off me. She was an older nurse, too. She wouldn't have it. And I said, all right, I pulled my cell phone out. And my wife's phone, her number on my phone was My Baby. I pulled up My Baby, and I hit send. I said, here you go. My wife was with her dad in Fort Payne, Alabama, about 2 hours away. My daughter was in Macon, Georgia, about 2 hours away. Nurse gets on the phone. She's talking to my wife. This nurse, old school, hardcore nurse, is talking to my wife. Nurse breaks down crying. I said, oh boy, this ain't gonna be good. And just tells my wife, you need to get here. It was bad. We don't know what's going on. You need to get here. My wife beelines to the car, gets what she needs. She's on her way. My daughter calls my daughter. She's on her way. And I'm sitting there, in my mind, I'm starting to give up. Okay, I'm going to be here. I'm going to do what these people tell me to do. I'm going to find out what happened. My heart was I went into sudden cardiac arrest. Going into this event, I was in what's called atrial flutter, AFib. Sometimes my heart will go into an AFib heart rate. That means the bottom beats normally and the top quivers. But it's never been that big of a deal. The few times I've had it before, they cardiovert me back. And I went through AFib and detox one time because it was such a shock to my body. But when they shocked my heart back with that AED machine, it shocked it back to a normal rhythm. I got to do that for free, praise God. They have no hospital bill for that one. But anyway, when the nurse talked to my wife, she's on the way, I felt great. I was like, man, I hate this happened, but I felt great. Put me in ambulance, took me to the recovery room, brought me in, they're doing all these tests, all these nurses are coming in, doctors coming in, asking me all these questions. And I felt great. My wife comes walking in a couple hours later, distraught, tear. You see where she's just been crying. She gives me a hug, just an aura of concern. She gives me a hug. I hug my wife. Shortly after that, my daughter comes walking in. My daughter was going to get married that November. This is July 13th. This is my wife's birthday 2 years ago. So you can imagine how this could have went. My daughter comes in, same thing. Tears, crying, just distraught. And I felt great. And they're just shaking. I'm thinking, man, I should feel concerned. I should feel like them. I could care less for some reason. I'm not concerned with it. Couldn't figure out why. Well, another nurse is coming and taking care of me. All these kids are coming to the emergency room. It was a youth program. There were busloads of kids coming down to see how I was doing. And the nurse wanted to know why these people were coming. She wanted to know who I was. And I was kind of explaining to her what I did. It's hard to explain feats of strength. They don't know what a hot water bottle is. They don't know what we do. So I'm trying to explain that. And for some reason, I said, I was out. I was out for 4 minutes. But if I didn't wake up, it'd be okay. And she had the strangest look on her face. She said, okay. She goes, Chip, if you didn't wake up, you'd be dead. And I said this. I said, well, the Bible says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Because of the decision I made June 28, 2003, the day I leave this earth, I'll spend eternity in a real place called heaven. When I said that, this level of confidence in my heart, the way I said it to her, she knew I was telling the truth. And the reason that happened is because I gave my life June 28, 2003. And I think about this. What if that would have happened to me before I got saved? We're talking about eternity. We're talking about hell, gnashing of teeth, lake of fire, suffering. No way, I don't want that. Praise God, he takes care of his people. I woke back up. I'm not finished yet. God's got some more work for me to do. He had Pastor run down that sidewalk and get to the AED machine and bring me back. What a deal. But the level of confidence, and I read that scripture in Hebrews about being at the throne of grace, God's throne of grace. And it changed my attitude on confidence forever. And I want to share with you guys that story because we are not guaranteed tomorrow. What are you doing today to be the best Christian you can be? 24 hours that we only have, 24 hours at a time. When you wake up in the morning, are you thinking about what you're going to do that day for God's will? Or are you thinking about how much money you can make? You think you're going to live forever? A lot of us don't want to die because we don't want to go through anything painful. But what happened to me, what you saw in that video, is going to happen to every single one of us. That doctor told me in Alabama when I was in the emergency room, that they kept me for about 2 days. And she came in there all mean, and some of these older doctors, lady doctors, especially women, they can be mean. Hey, whatever. She says, Chip, she knew how I was. She knew I was nasty. She knew how we are, how we act. She goes, I don't want you driving, but I don't want you working out and going to the gym. I said, yes, ma'am. I got out on Friday. I woke up Saturday morning, got in my car, and drove to the gym. Please don't do what I do. I'm a knucklehead. Don't do what I do. They wanted me to come in and get a defibrillator, do all this stuff. You know, I went back out on the road. I said, you know, I'll just, God's got this. God's got me where he wants me to be at. I have confidence in that. I'm not changing anything. I'm doing what the Lord tells me to do. I'm doing what God calls me to do every single day. I'm going to keep speaking in front of people. I went straight back out on the road again. Speaking about being hurt and injured, October of last year in Belpre, Ohio, I hit a stack of bricks in front of a bunch of people. I had a double stack. That's a double forearm. I'm standing on a big scaffolding. Last year, October, what we do is we come way up like this and we drive down through 2 different stacks of bricks. And I smashed the right side. It exploded, broke the whole thing. Left side didn't one brick break. Not one brick. These bricks come from Home Depot. They're real bricks. Everything comes from Lowe's and Home Depot. I hit that second stack of bricks. Nothing happened. I felt my arm break. I felt it. And this is how I know I'm getting older. I pulled back up like that. Jamie Morrison was on the mic, power team. I said, you know what, Jamie, I'm getting down. I'm done. He sent another guy up there to try to break him. He missed, and he hit it a couple more times and never did break that stack of bricks. What happened is they put wooden spacers in between the bricks instead of metal spacers. Metal spacers, they don't absorb that energy. You can go straight down through. Wooden spacers, you can't do that. I didn't know that. If I would have had wooden spacers, I would have hit it 10 times harder than what I did. But what lets me know I'm getting older is that the younger me with a broken arm, just imagine the cockiness, the pride, the ego. If I would have said, you know what, I'm going to hit it again with a broken arm, I would have been in surgery. That was on Saturday night, preached on Sunday morning. Went back out on stage Sunday night. Monday morning I flew home. My wife picked me up from the airport. I went to the emergency room, got a cast, got x-rays, got everything in order, what they needed to do. Went back out on Tuesday. Suffering. I was hurting. But I was already booked to be out. I'm not going to. You think about the Apostle Paul. Is he going to stay in for a broken arm? He's got a cold. Some people get the sniffles. So I better not go preach today. I better not. Most evangelists I know, they're going to go out. I know in recovery, you go to a meeting. I don't care if it's tornadic activity outside, if it's raining, you go to a meeting. Why? Because you got drunk when it was high. I mean, you got drunk when it was raining. You got high when it was thunder, the storms were outside. Why wouldn't you go to recovery? You go every single day. You be obedient to God's will. I just want to encourage you guys. I'm going to tell this next story. Then we're going to take another break, going to 12 o'clock. You never know how God's going to use you. You never know how God's going to. You guys are so powerful, and you guys are so valuable. When I first went out on Team Impact, I went to Arkansas, and I was scared to death. I've never done anything like this before in my life. I'm with big guy Earl, played football for the Houston Oilers. Big Jeff Neal played for Houston. These guys are this tall, big 300-pound football players. A couple bodybuilders, a couple powerlifters. We get to Arkansas, and in my mind, I'm thinking this: they're going to tell me the trick to these feats of strength. Surely there's got to be a trick to it. Surely it can't be real. No one ever tells me the trick. I go up and I meet the manager. His name's Preston Cave. I meet him at the airport. My first time out on the road. He shakes my hand. I'm waiting for him to tell me. He says, Chip, it's nice to meet you. How'd you get saved? Okay, it's kind of a weird question, but yeah. I went through my testimony like you guys heard last night. He never did tell me the trick. I said, okay, well, I guess the team captain or someone else is going to tell me the trick. I meet Guy Earl, one of my mentors. Shake his hand. He said, man, thank you for coming out. We had a guy counsel on us, man. It's awesome to have you here. Shakes my hand. I said, he's going to tell me the trick. He pulls me to the side. Let me talk to you for a minute. I said, okay. He said, how'd you get saved? I said, man, that's the second time I've been asked that today. So I told him. He said, okay. But he never did tell me the trick to hitting a stack of bricks. He never told me the trick to the phone book. I said, okay, he'll tell me later. When you get to the church, what happens when you get to the church on Wednesday night, you got to set up the stage. I said, well, maybe they're just going to have me watch. Maybe they had me fly out here. They're going to watch me, want me to watch the program. I'm not going to participate. That's cool. I'm going to watch everything. I'm going to take notes. I had paper, I had pencil. I'm going to do all the stuff. So I met Jeff Neal setting up the stage. He said, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. I said, here we go. Now he'll smart me up and be one of the boys. Go around back, shake his hand. We go to set up some brick breaks. And he says, how'd you get saved? I said, man, that's the third time today, guys. They love to see how someone got saved. I told my testimony. And then I met Trey Talley, same thing. How'd you get saved? So that's all they want to talk. They never told me the trick, so in my mind, they're not going to use me. Fine. I'm in front of about 2,000 people in Arkansas. The program starts, the music starts playing, the kids have glow stick, place is electric. There's about 6 of us. They had given me a uniform to put on. When we were getting dressed, I'm like, I'm going to stand in the back. I'm never going to even take this uniform off. I was kind of, as a team member, I wanted to be on stage, but I knew I didn't know anything. I didn't know the trick, so they're not going to use me. So we take off running down to the stage. We got a forearm break here, an elbow break here, ice breaks here. The stage was set up with all these different breaks. And we're going to demolish the stage, or they're going to demolish the stage. And when I run down to the stage, there are kids everywhere. The place is out of control. People screaming, yelling. I run to the back of the stage and pick me a spot. I said, I'm going to stand right here. I'm going to watch everything. I picked a spot where I can see everything. I'm standing in the back out of the spotlight. Trey Talley runs to the middle of the stage. He takes a microphone in front of a couple thousand people and says, are you ready for impact? The place goes nuts. I got chill bumps, God bumps. I can't wait to watch this. He is starting us off tonight. Chip Mint from Macon, Georgia is going to break this stack of bricks right here. I said, what? Nobody told me anything about this. I don't know. I don't know. He said, come on. So I walked out, and you had to walk up on this big base of bricks. It's about 13, 15-inch blocks. Come Home Depot. So I climb on the base, and the music's going, you can hardly hear. Trey's down here on the mic. And I said, Trey, come here. And he's getting the crowd up. He said, what? I said, no one told me the trick. What's the trick? He goes, come here. I said, what's the trick? He goes, you got to hit it hard, bro. You got to hit it hard. I said, oh, this just got real. Okay, ain't no trick to it. He said, I want you to warm up once, warm up a second time, take your jacket off, and then bring the pain. He said, you got to hit that sack of bricks. On the fat part of your arm, on the meat part, you got to hit it dry. Well, you got to hit the top one so hard that you have a desire to break the bottom one. You got to kill it. And as an athlete, we're very aggressive athletes. Bobsled is a very aggressive sport. And you just turn bull. It's okay. I zone the crowd out. I don't hear anything. I'll warm up once. I warm up a second time. I take my jacket off and I almost black out. I reached as high as I could on my tiptoes, and I came down with a fat part of my arm, and I tried to break everything. I hit the top of that stack of bricks, the whole stack exploded. Half went that way, half went that way, and I'm looking down in the middle, went straight down. I said, man, I broke it. I'm looking down. I couldn't believe it. I said, now what do? He said, the crowd. I forgot about the crowd. I was like, oh, and I pointed to God. I had chill bumps. I said, man, this is the most incredible thing I've ever done. This is crazy. This was awesome. This was insane. I did it. I put my jacket on. I went down the base, went to the back. I can't hardly breathe. Like yesterday. I said, it can't get better than this. This is the best it's ever going to get. In the middle of that program, Trey Talley walks up there with a microphone. In the middle, the music stops. All the guys put their jackets on, and they're kind of getting breaks to go sit down. They're making little seats. Everyone goes to the side. Now, what's going on now? And Trey calls me out to the middle. I don't see anything out there. There's no bricks. There's no baseball bats. And I walk out there. All these people are quiet. They're all looking at me. I said, what do you want? He hands me the mic. He goes, Tell them how you got saved. And then it hit me. Oh, this is what it's about. And I didn't know how to give my testimony. He said, tell them what your life was like before Jesus Christ, how you came to know Jesus Christ, and what your life is like now living for Jesus Christ. And I did exactly that from the heart. I broke down crying like a baby. I mean, I went about probably 8 to 12 minutes. That place, you could hear a pin drop. And when it was over, that place went nuts when I told them how Jesus Christ changed my life. When I went to the autograph table at the end of that program, I don't know, 25, 30 people walked up and said, man, my testimony is just like yours. And it got better. It was insane. I thought, God, if I can ever do this full time, please, what an awesome opportunity. So God can use a broken down athlete, drunk, drug addict, alcoholic like me, all the things I've done in my life. Imagine what God can do for you. You guys are powerful. You guys are valuable. I use this $100 bill expression in schools all the time. I say, if I had a $100 bill and I offer to give it to you, raise your hand. Hands go up. I said, okay, what if I said some mean stuff about this money? I said a bunch of mean stuff about it. And then I said, all you have to do is raise your hand and I'll give it to you. How many of you guys raise your hands? Hands go up. I said, okay, what if I would have spit on the money, beat up the money, kicked dirt on it, and I picked up a stinking, dirty, nasty, ripped up, wet, covered in mud, $100 bill. And I said, all you have to do is raise your hand and I give it to you. How many of you guys will raise your hand? All the hands go up. And I said, why would you do that? They say it's money. I said, that's exactly right. I could walk into a store with a brand new $100 bill or a beat up nasty $100 bill. It's going to spend the same. It holds its value. Guys, your dream works the same way. No matter what anyone says about you, it holds its value. You guys are powerful. Just because someone might say you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough, you're stupid, you don't mean anything, you guys are powerful and you have value. So I want to encourage you to have that circle of influence to build someone up. Let them see your light shine. Be a light. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. I'm telling you. Each year that goes by, I hear about so many friends of mine passing on. Things happening with this world today. Technology is awesome, but we're not going to make it. At some point, we're going to step over into eternity. We're going to take another break real quick, and then we're going to close this morning out. You guys have been awesome. Let's see some more Pop-Tarts, get a drink of water, and whatever other sweets we got over there.
Hey.